Welcome everybody. It's delightful to be here. Now I had it all planned out, like I usually do, and then I got a little tap on the shoulder and said, do it different. So we're gonna do it different and we're gonna see what happens. I always love trying these new things. So I first want to start by explaining a little bit why it even matters. We live in a world right now that is it's trying to now be very aware of mental health. There's, as we all know, we've had a lot of stigma about it for quite some time, and now we're trying to be more open about it and share more about it. But it is still, it's sort of an either or kind of a thing. Either you have to be at the absolute breaking point or you have to be normal. We don't really talk about what do you do at the in-between stage. What do you do when there are just moments that are hard, there are just things that are frustrating, or you're confused, or things are just weird? We don't really talk about those things. We're like, just pray, just fast, just read your scriptures, and you're going to be fine. And sometimes those work. Sometimes they need a little bit of help. So my purpose in sharing here tonight is to try and give you some tools to use when life is just not nice. And things to use when you're just kind of feeling a little frustrated, like you don't know how to actually explain what's going on, but you're like, I know that what's going on is not great. What do I do about it? So I want to first so I have 4 stories to tell you tonight, because I believe that stories are one of the best ways to illustrate whatever it is the person needs for self-application, and then I don't have to explain it as much. So I'm going to start with why holding on to emotions isn't the best. I'm going to tell stories and then also actually give you techniques to use to help you work with them. Because it seems kind of unfair of me to tell you holding on to emotions is bad and then usher you out the door and say go figure it out yourself. So we're also going to be doing some visualization, and I'm going to give you some opportunities to also reflect on kind of where you're at and where you would like to be wherever you're at. So first I just want to kind of start out with the idea that I want to start with string theory, but that seems really mean because string theory is kind of hard to explain and I'm a novice at it myself. But basically what I just want to lay out there first to let kind of simmer in your mind is the idea that all matter have energy. So all matter ever has energy and interacts with us. And we're matter and we're energy, and so we interact with matter and interact with energy. And the different things that we interact with and the things that we do all have energy and can affect us, and we can affect it. And if you actually were to list out all emotions, like across the board, from like exultant joy to severe despair, all the way down and all the way through, each one of those emotions has a frequency and has an energy. And so as we're holding on to those different emotions, we then either raise ourselves up to those higher feelings and those higher energy, which is why you feel warm, because it's actually, those feelings are actually causing your molecules to vibrate faster. And so you physically feel warmer and you physically feel energy because those emotions you're feeling increase your energy. If you're holding on to frustration or anger or sadness, you literally do feel lower and you do feel more frustration and you kind of feel colder and more down because the emotions that you're holding on to pull you to that place. And so in no way do I want to tell all of you, you just need to choose to be happy. People have been telling me that my entire life and I generally want to punch them. That sounded very violent. I apologize. But for me, I realize that I get to choose the kinds of things that hang out in my mind, but I don't always get to choose which ones show up. And so if we don't actually know what to do with things when they show up, they can take a hold of us before we even have consciously chosen to do anything with them. And so this is just the things that I want to teach you and to kind of suggest for you to think about are ways for you to see more of the kinds of things that are coming into your head so that then you can make conscious choices of what you want to stay there. And sometimes it's okay if you stay there. Like if I'm having a really hard time, okay, I knew that this would happen. So for the last 3 months, I've been battling mono. I got pneumonia when I was 18, and the Epstein-Barr virus hangs out in you for a long time, and it has been resurfacing now as mono. And as a person who really loves being dependable, as a person who really loves people being able for like other people to just say, hey, we can depend on you, like just get this stuff done. It has been really hard for me to actually have to tell people no. And I have 2 bosses, so that means I'm telling 2 people that I can't do stuff, which is awful. And so I've been in this space lately where that has been messing with my self-worth a lot, because the very things that I thought made me at my core are now things I can't do anymore. And so then how do you process that when you feel like everything that's you doesn't work? And I think all of us will encounter that at some point in our lives in some form or in some fashion. Whether that's children relationships, that things aren't going well and you wish that they were, that's coworker relationships and you really value building friendships, or physical limitations, whatever it is, all of these things can eat away at us. And if who you are feels under attack, it's really hard to wake up every morning and be like, I'm just gonna be happy. Like, you can try, and I give you tons of love and support for trying, but it's hard. And so I guess my overall first message is it's okay that life's hard. And it is okay that things aren't fixed with prayer and scripture study and temple attendance. It's okay if you doing your best doesn't make life always feel wonderful. And I feel bad saying that because it kind of goes against all of the culture of if you do those things, you'll be all right. But I'm also watching it play out that we have an entire society of people who are trying to do those things and aren't all right. And so why are we saying that works if for tons of people it's not? And so I just kind of want you guys to think about those things and think about where you're at and what you're feeling, and I'm going to just dive right into the stories. So the first story that I want to tell you involves this. So also, 18 was a really rough year for me. 18 to 19 was just a really rough year. I got pneumonia that turned into bronchitis, which turned into being in bed for 2 weeks, and just wasn't pleasant. Thankfully, it was the summer, so it was fine. But we'll get back to that in a minute. So my family and I were going on our first ever camping trip, guys. Like, first ever. My family did not camp when we were younger. We did not, we loved the great outdoors, but it was like day hikes. So we never just went out and just were out in the wild. And so I was really excited. We were going out camping in Stanley, Idaho, next to Redfish Lake, so up north in Idaho, because my brother had a girlfriend and they missed each other, and she worked at the resort up there. So as a family, to chaperone, we all went up to Redfish Lake. And our very first night there, we had gotten to the campsite, unpacked everything, and put up the tents, and then it was a young single adult activity, and because all of us were over the age of 18, we all went. So we left my parents back at the campsite and we all trooped up. We got in cars, we went up into an even deeper and farther away canyon in the middle of nowhere, and there was this rope swing. Now I had heard that there would be a rope swing. So when I hear rope swing, I think lake, and I think like swimsuits. So I put my swimsuit on under my clothes because we're going to this rope swing and I wanted to be prepared. We drive up into this canyon in the middle of nowhere and hike for half an hour to get to a huge pine tree over a cliff. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I said a cliff.
Yeah.
And I was 18 and there was cute boys. Do I need to say more? Probably yes. So all of these very cute boys who were really shy. I don't know what it is, but for my entire life I've gone for cute, tall, shy boys. I married one. So, well, he's not really shy, but he looks that way when you first meet him. And so all my life I've gone for these really cute, shy boys, and there were 3 of them. And in my knowledge of intergender relations, you try to impress them for them to like you. And so I was like, they're all jumping on. Okay, so here is pine tree, here is cliff, here is rope swing. So you would jump on the rope swing about here, and you would swing out over the rope swing. Now for the first few times, I sat on the rope swing and just had them push me out. But it was the final run of the night, and these guys had been climbing into the tree, jumping onto the rope swing and swinging really far out. And I was like, if I want them to notice me, I am going to have to really go hardcore on this. So I went over to my brother and I went over to my sister and I said, guys, will you hold the rope swing so I can jump on it with my feet and swing all the way out? And they looked at me like, Allison, that's bad. I'm like, it'll be fine. So they agreed. I don't know why they agreed, but they did. So my brother holds the swing. I climb up onto the swing with my feet. Actually, I sort of jumped. And then I felt my feet slip off the wood. And I went, ah, because I'm like, this is not good. My brother, thinking that that was a sign of, yep, I've got this, pushed. So I go flying out over the cliff, holding on by my bare hands, and that was it. With that time, all 200 pounds of me dragging down on the rope. I get out as far as you possibly can on this cliff, and my hands slid off the rope, and I went flying down the mountainside. I hit on my stomach, and I went shooting down the hill, and just missed a fallen pine tree at the bottom.
Oh my God.
So I'm laying there, and I'm like, I didn't die. This is cool.
You escaped death.
And then I looked up, and my brother and my sister are screaming my name, charging down the mountainside. And I look up and I'm like, but I'm gonna die now. Because they were charging full on down the mountainside, not realizing that there was gravel and they were going to slide like no one's business. And they slid, and they just missed me. And I look up to this cloud of dust washing over my face, and I had slobber because I've been screaming, and there was blood, and I look up and I'm just covered in dust. And I'm like, oh. So they figure out that I'm okay. We kind of check me out. I had a ginormous gash on my elbow, but that's all we knew. So they get me up the hill, and I get to the top, and I like sort of blacked out, but not really. So they're like, she's going into shock, you've got to lay her down. And no kidding you, they actually said that I was almost as green as the hymnal. So like, I was really not good. So they put my feet up, and I'm not really with it because I'm in shock, and I fell, and I look up and I was like, oh no, and I said this out loud, mind you, oh man, those cute boys will never talk to me again. Those cute boys all blushed and turned the other way and started walking down the mountainside. Because they were very shy, and I was really awkward. Anyway, we finally get me down the mountainside. I can't climb into the truck